So sorry if the fog's up, guys. It's because the camera's cold from being inside, and it's warm out here. But we're about to go up for our first test hit today. We'll wipe this down again. And see what we can do. Not trying to go like a super low 1060. If we can just get to the high 10s with some other changes, we should go good faster than last night. Changed plugs this morning, went over some stuff, put a little more aggressive tune-up in it out back. So let's see how fast we can go. What was it? 30. Update, guys. As you saw, we made 3 passes. First one, it wheelied one on the left. I'm surprised it wheelied, but it showed that some of the changes we made last night made a big difference as far as power goes. And on top of that, it's not like it was, the track wasn't really cool. So it came back. John put a little rear steer in it, left the same tune-up, and it did a wheelie again, just a little one, not too bad. Actually, I don't know if the right tire came off the ground, but won a 107 760 and a 430 flat at 167.99. call it 168. Third pass, went out there in about 8/10. It just lit the tires up. So now between those two runs, number 2 and 3, we pulled the 80 pounds off the rear in an attempt to see how it does without it. We actually just put 25 back on just to have it, just to see. I've got 2 tune-ups loaded, one hot and one not as hot, but still faster than last night theoretically. I want to note that on the second run where we actually got full hit, I was up on the brake twice, as you see in the video, and that was rough on the transmission. It's about 220 going through the traps, and by the time I was done coasting down before I cut the car off, it's like 280. So trans had a lot of heat in it, dropped like 150 RPMs on the shift, so it did not like it. But that being said, it was middle of the day, pretty warm, and we went down, went quick. I think there's some power there. I'm still playing with shift points and timing, stuff like that, but I think we're going to get there. It's just a little bit of work. The air is getting a lot better now. Track's going to get better, and I think we can go fast on this next one. Really, as long as everything 60 foots like it should, I don't really worry about the rest. But it seems that we may have the issue under control where it's kind of making a move on the shifts according to the drive shaft sensor release. Before you would see a spike, and now you don't. But once again, we'll see here in a little bit.
92 to get into the Magic 8 currently. They are all qualified in Pro 275 here, as we will let it rip momentarily. Alexander going for a wheel stand, sets it back down, keeps on trucking there. 425.7, 163 for
What's up, guys? I kept forgetting to bring my camera home, or when I'm here I wouldn't think about it, and I would not make the last part of the video for No Mercy. So it's been a little over a week now, and I've made some progress on making changes in the car already. So I don't know what the last part I recorded was, and I'll just edit out what's unnecessary. But to kind of break down Thursday, we made our first hit, and we had made some changes that night in the tune-up a little bit, and the big thing was it was pretty fat going into, rich going into off the brake. So I leaned that out a bit, and man, did I wake the car up. We haven't wheelied in a year. We were convinced the car could not wheelie anymore because it's been 103 60 foots without a wheelie. And next thing you know, come out there off the brake, it should wheelies left. John put some rear steer in it, and it will go up there again. This next time I'm prepared for it, because like I said, it hasn't wheelied in a year. I didn't think it was going to wheelie, especially with 80 plus degree, 85 degree air temp, and track temp I'm sure was a bit warmer, probably 110, 120. Go up there the second time and get up on the brake, and the guy goes to bump in and bumps through. Now this is not competition, this is testing. So I wait for a second, which feels like a lifetime when you're sitting there popping on the trans brake. And I just let off and back up. At this point, the car is at, I think the cylinder head temp was at 190, transmission was at like 220, and I'm like, well, I guess we're going to do this again. So I get up on the brake, and this time I make a full lick, and went like a 430 flat at 167, hardly dropped any RPM on the shift because the transmission was so hot. At the end of the run, I think the trans was 190 before the run and 220 at the end of the run. But before I cut the car off, the trans is like 280. So as you can imagine, it has some residual heat in it from popping on the brake like that. It's just rough on it. We go up there again a few hours later. I'm like, let's just see if this thing will work in the heat, see if it'll go straight. John, the car had wheelied a little bit on that one, not much, but once again, I was ready for it, and I was able to drive it. John put a little more rear steer in it, and it's clear that the chassis itself is just twisting up. So, of course, we can't do anything about it there, so we're just trying to compensate for it. Of course, you don't want to do it too much, because if the car stays down, then it might drive right. So we go up for the third pass in the heat, and I make it, not to the 60, and in the exact same spot somebody else spun, I ended up spinning. So, and we had took the 80 pounds out of the rear from what we usually run in it. So we're thinking about it. We're sitting around for a few hours, cooling the car down. We're like, all right. John decides, hey, let's put the 25 pounds back in the rear of the 80, and then we'll just kind of see what it does from there. So we get up there and we make our third hit. Car goes, wheelies again. I had put some power on in the leaf. It rolls out, and it's funny how slow this stuff happens in the car, but reality is not that long if you watch it. But car rolls out, and I feel the front end come up, but I'm just like, I'm rolling with it, and it's going. It wheelies till about 1.8 seconds. So I want to say it set the front down about 2 seconds, which is roughly like 105 mile an hour. It pulled 10 degrees out on the wheelie control from 10 seconds. I'm sorry, from 1.5 seconds to 1.8 seconds. So 10 degrees, especially on that little motor and on any motor, that's a ton of power. But that's what it took to keep the front end, to get it back down finally. Pulls the front end down, the car comes down. I had to raise the shift point too, so the car shifts. And I'm thinking in my head, this feels fast. And it's certainly, intensified by the fact that I just rode a wheelie till, almost 330. I won a 283.30, which our fastest is a 279, but that was on a clean hit, not 10 degrees knocked out for a couple tenths. And then as I'm coming to the end of the track, it starts vibrating real bad. And part of me is like, well, maybe I got one skinny in the groove and one skinny out, so it's kind of slick and not slick, and it's getting pretty rough. So I kill it, as far as the power. Let off at 394, go a 425.7 at 163. So down a lot of mile per hour, and still go super close to a PB, because we've been a 424 at the 8 before. Get to the shutdown or turn off or whatever, and the car stalled on me, which I thought was odd, but some things happen. And I got to crank it up, and I can like, oh, this thing don't have compression. It's like I knew right away, like I bet the block broke. And we get it back to the pits. You go turn it over. It sounds terrible. It just has that sound of like you're missing a bunch of holes. You get to looking, and you can see the head gasket is blown out of the block in 5 spots. Now you're like, man, this gangster head gasket you have, how are you gonna blow one out? Well, once we got the heads off, what we found was the deck had moved. Like, don't think of like the whole like deck just being like an inch out of space, but you could see where water jackets had collapsed. One of the sleeves, number 7, was above the surface of hair, so which tells us that, it moved there. So basically, it just the structural integrity of the block was compromised by the power it's making, and it broke. So we blew out 5 holes there. Sammy, being the awesome guy he is, he's like, man, I can bring you an engine down tomorrow, because he's got one similar. But the thing is like, obviously the racer's like, heck yeah, let's do it. But the Nigel who doesn't want to pay for it is like, I don't want to do it, because I'm gonna try to go fast again. This is what I do, and if I break something, it's gonna cost me a big wad of money, which is just gonna set me back on fixing my own stuff. So did not do that. Instead we ended up leaving Friday evening, which is fine. I hate to do that because I wanted to race, but for one, I couldn't. So I was like, let's get home. I can start tearing this thing apart. And 2, the wife and I can go get breakfast Saturday. So what makes it even worse is like, I wanted to qualify, and it wasn't the fastest field ever, but it doesn't matter. I qualified. So I was like, dang, this is awesome. I qualified, but it's awesome that I qualified, but not awesome that I can't race. Well, then I watched a guy go make a hit that I would have ran round 1, and he goes and he spins. Now, that being said, it's a 370 car, and it was hot. He's probably trying something fast in the heat because he knew he had a bye, so I doubt he would have spun against me. But still, just the thought if he would have, most likely I would have went A to B. but it's all irrelevant. You know, it didn't happen. You know, ifs and buts don't matter. So where we're at now, car is apart again. The engine, it's still back together. We pulled the heads off at the track and just saw the damage and just kind of assessed everything, and it's just, you know, it's just out of the way at the moment. So there'll be some future videos, of course, because that's what I do, even though I'm real slow at it. But the car's getting some changes, going to make some chassis changes. We've got to back out this thing. I was going to 4-link it. Now I'm starting to lean back towards stock suspension still, just because I don't want to cut so much of the chassis up as far as like having to move a lot of bars to 4-link it right. But we are going to basically cut all the current rear support out, minus the stock suspension location, and put some more tubing there. More race chassis offered a back half kit for a good deal. Normally I would have done it myself, but would I just pay for some tubing the other day for some other stuff? And I was like, man, and I looked at their price on their website, and in this Ford Fox body, I was like, screw it, bought it from them, saved me some time. You know, so we're going to do that. There'll be some videos upcoming on that. We're going to do some other things too, just to try to make the chassis a little better. And then we got some thinking to do. You know, obviously I've been an advocate of the stock block stuff, and I still am. I know it's got potential. I think sometimes you run into an issue whereas those blocks are not technically cast. They're cast for 300 horsepower or whatever those things made, not what we do with them. So you could get one that's not as good as some of them. But you know, that being said, it's just for me, like, as much as it costs, you know, as the blocks, they cost, you know, roughly $300 to $500 a pop, and then you got machining and stuff. I mean, you know, so I'm already a good block into, by good I mean aftermarket block into this stuff, and with what we're doing, it's like we've held it's the internet record. It doesn't mean that much to me, really, you know, but like. Because to me, the fact, even though I've got a internet record, I still race people and I still lose. Who you know, which that's always going to be the case because I don't have that kind of money. But it's you know, I'm just you know, I really feel like I have to just make my mind up. You know, like the racing we want to do, we need to step our game up. So we're just going to go from there and see. You know, you never know what the future holds, or how things may look even in a few months, honestly. But for now, I'll focus on getting the chassis where it needs to be, and then figure out some stuff from there. Because making more power, no matter what it is, you know, we're just not going to accomplish what we want with. We're still fighting a chassis that is twisted up too much. Which, you know, to be fair, you know, the back of the car, you know, whenever we redid the car, we had no idea we'd be doing what we're doing. Like, you know, I think 440s sounded cool, and then did it really easy. So then it's like, well, let's go 420s. I want 429 in 9 full passes. So it's like, you know, why slow down? Because you know, we're doing what we're doing. But now that we're figuring stuff out, making more power, it's just, there's, you know, like everything, there's a side effect for that. So we're gonna make the chassis better too. The robots. But that's where we're at. So, you know, future videos, you'll see some stuff. I know it's been kind of a long ramble here, but just trying to explain things. Still going to keep grinding, still going to try to keep going fast with it. You know, it's disheartening to break it. It was annoying, but that's part of it. You know, we're going down there, and we're trying to go really fast with stuff that's not necessarily made for that. I know other guys, there'll be some out there, I'm sure, that goes faster soon, probably Capizzi or Zaid or even some other guys, you know. I know there's a pretty fast grudge car that just got finished that's very light and just went really fast too. So there's some cars out there that are going to go fast, and with what we do racing-wise locally, you know, I'm always going to be behind if I don't make a move to step up. That's another thing too. So that's where we're at. You know, appreciate you guys watching. And you know, just keep an eye out for upcoming videos over the next few weeks, and make sure you like, share, and subscribe.